Hello everyone and welcome to Let's Play Factorio Part 2. This is Sippy Cup. So, I realized last time I was reading a little bit of feedback about some other Factorio videos, and a point that kept coming up was that watching people play through kind of from the very beginning can be a little bit tedious. So I wanted to take a little bit of a different tack. For one thing, I want to jump ahead and show you a base that is a bit more developed, just so you can get a sense of kind of where everything is going. The other thing is, I'm probably not going to be keeping the recording running continuously. I'm probably going to be jumping around a little bit and mostly talking during highlights and stepping stones and things like that during the gameplay. So they're really in the interest of making sure that you guys are staying engaged and not getting bored watching me shuttle back and forth between boxes laying down conveyor belts. Anyway, with that said, let's jump into it. So this is one of my more recent save games where I've actually got some decent automation set up. So I'm going to start at the beginning. So basically I've got this coal deposit. As you see, I've got drills set up here. The drills are hooked up to conveyor belt. This is coal, basically. So now, this is a sort of more advanced setup for feeding these steam generators. As you see, I've got quite a few of them. These here are accumulators. You can think of them as basically a capacitor. They hold an electric charge, and they will only discharge if your load exceeds your production. So this is useful for building up an energy surplus if you want to, for instance, power laser turrets and things like that. So this conveyor belt is sending coal up this way. I've got inserters that are basically pulling coal off the belt when needed to put coal into these burners, or the furnaces, boilers. Over here is a roboport. I'm going to talk more about this later. I'm still actually kind of figuring these out myself. This is basically, it's a logistics thing where you can have little flying robots that can move materials to and from different places. I'll cover that in a later episode, I'm sure. If you see this building over here with all the tanks connected to it, this is actually an oil refinery. So way down, let's open up this map, way down here from where I am, there's some oil, and I've set up some pump jacks that are pumping the oil up this way. So then I can process it into various things. I've got light oil, heavy oil, there's some, what else I got? I think I'm making sulfuric acid and all kinds of things. Anyway, so like here is a chemical plant, and this one is making, what is being made here? Actually, I guess I'm not making anything right now, but let's check this box and see what was in here before. I don't know. Well, it's a mystery. Anyway, something to do with coal. I think it might have been sulfuric acid. Okay, so the coal is coming up here, and as you can see, I'm actually using a splitter to split it off a couple different ways. So coal is being used to power copper production, is being used to power iron production. Basically, I'm just feeding coal and iron ore into these furnaces. One cool thing is you can actually tap Alt to show what buildings are making. It's a really handy-dandy feature. So from here I have iron basically going out and it's being used to produce gears. Gears, as we sort of saw at the end of the last episode, are a vital component for producing the red science packs. I also need to use some iron to produce steel. So there's a couple of furnaces that I have dedicated just for steel production, and right now they're just feeding into these chests. I don't have any automated use of the steel yet. So basically, this is something I was going to illustrate before, because you saw that the belts are two-sided. One nifty thing that you can do is when you have buildings that require, for instance, gears and metal, so like this assembling machine is, I'll show you this real quick. So with the assembling machine, you actually get to choose a recipe. So let me just set the current recipe. So anything that I can make myself, I can also choose to make here. So if I navigate to intermediate products and then I select science packs, it will basically, as long as it has the raw materials it needs, if I can get it, it will start making those things, and then I've got another inserter that's putting it onto this belt. And so basically I have some factories that are making red science packs, some factories that are making green science packs, which actually take electric inserters and a conveyor belt. And it's feeding these laboratories here. So right now I just have 8 labs. So you can kind of get a sense now of you know, a bit further down the game. Obviously, some of this stuff requires multiple factories to produce what you want. So for instance, the electric inserter actually requires circuit boards, and circuit boards require copper wire and metal plates. So in order to get to the green, you kind of have to have, you know, all these things in between. So I've got an assembling machine that's creating these conveyor belts, and I believe they use gears and plates, right? So I got to use that to produce the conveyor belt, and then the inserters take, what is it? I forget. Plates, gears, and electronic circuits. So one important thing is making sure that you have sufficient output of these various intermediate products to keep up with the demand of your more advanced factories. So anyway, that's just kind of a look at where we are a little bit further in the game. So one thing that I keep bumping into with my save games is that I tend to make everything too compact. When I look at people's bases that are a bit more advanced players, I notice that they spread things out a lot. Space is not really that much of an issue. I mean, the maps are gigantic. You can see here, if I zoom in, all the way, I'm just, kind of a speck here. But if I zoom out more, I mean, this whole map could basically be used. When resources are really far apart, you can use things like trains to, connect and, make it more efficient. You can have, mining operations that are basically set up at remote corners where you have big deposits of whatever, and then you can send trains to pick it all up. Anyway, so there's that. Here you can see this refinery is pulling in oil, and it's spitting out 3 products, which is petroleum gas, light oil, and heavy oil, and these various things are being used for other processes. It looks like I actually have a couple of refineries here. This one's making sulfur, and I think the sulfur is being used to produce sulfuric acid down here. And then sulfuric acid is used to make batteries, and batteries are used for something else. So anyway, that's that. I will now pause for a bit, and I will jump back into my older game, and we'll kind of keep up where we left off. Okay, so welcome back. So I'm back to my original game from the first episode now. So let's talk real quick about automation of research. So right now I want to start researching stuff. Specifically, I want to be able to automate the manufacture of red science packs. The reason is that then I won't have to keep running back and forth to my laboratories to stick them full of red science packs when I want to do research. I'll just have a steady stream of red science packs feeding into my labs. So how am I going to do this? So the kind of catch-22 is that I actually need to research the ability to do the automation. So in order to do the automatic science pack production, I need to be able to have an assembling machine, and of course I got to research that first. So what I need to do, that means, is I need to manually produce some red science packs, which I should be able to do, seeing as how I've got quite a few metal plates, or iron plates, and copper plates in my inventory. So I can actually make a decent number of these right now. Now what I do need to do is create a lab and hook it up to the power network. So let's make a lab. Now while that's going, I'm actually going to link up some of these belts here. So the raw inputs for the red science packs are these metal plates and copper plates, iron and copper. So I'm going to start making a belt that has both of them, so that my lab can just pull these, or sorry, the manufacturing assembly can pull these off there and then assemble the red science packs and then feed those onto another belt. So for now, I'll just get a lab created, and I'll put it over here somewhere because that's probably where it's going to end up. So let's put it over here. And now, of course, it's going to ask me what I want to research. So I'll set automation as my first project. So I'm actually going to start researching until I link it up. So let's get that going. Actually, I'm going to need to make more poles, it looks like. So, alright. Okay, so now we got it linked up to the network, and I can start making some red science packs. So you'll notice if you go in here, you can see that it's going to take 10 science pack 1s, and each time that it consumes one, it's going to use 10 units of time. So I could actually make multiple labs. That's definitely a viable option. Oops, what I wanted to do was make 2 of these. Actually, sorry, 10 of those. Alright, so those are going to start building, and then I can start sticking those in there. Anyway, okay, so I'm going to pause for a little bit while these science packs manufacture, and then I will jump back in. Okay, I'm back. So I actually went ahead and just created a couple of labs since I had extra materials. So now I've got the science pack, so I can actually just split the stack, throw it in here, and it's going to start researching. And labs actually do require quite a bit of power. If I take a look now at power consumption by right-clicking, left-clicking on that, you're going to see that actually these 2 labs combined take up a little bit more than twice as much power, or sorry, a little bit less than half as much power as 4 mining drills. So pretty decent amount of load there. Actually now it's looking like even more. So the research is underway. You can see automation is now already well on its way to completing, and once that's done I'll be able to make what is it called? It is called an assembling machine 1. So the assembling machine 1 can craft items that require up to 2 ingredients. There are other assembling machines that can craft things that require more ingredients. So once this is nearly done researching, so when that's done, I will produce a couple more factories and then jump back in. Okay, I'm back. So actually I moved some things around. I started to realize that, well, for one thing, it wasn't actually plates and the iron plates and copper plates that were needed for the science packs. It's actually iron gears and copper plates, so I had to reset things up a little bit. So now I've got these factories here that are ready to start pumping out the red science packs. And I wanted to show you that you actually have multiple kinds of inserters. So obviously there's the burner inserters and there are the electric inserters, but you have another type of electric inserter called a long-handed inserter. So what's cool about this one is if you can't or don't want to or need to set it up so that you have 2 belts like this adjacent, you can have a long-handed one that reaches across the near belt and grabs stuff off the far belt. So this is cool because now I can expand this belt and use it for something else. Whereas if I were to put gears and copper plates on the same belt, I would need to use a splitter or something like that if I wanted to get the copper back off onto its own belt. So I'm trying to sort of future-proof a little bit and think ahead. Here's a case where I'm going to need this iron plates for more stuff, and I've kind of hemmed myself in. But what I can do is I can put a little bit of an underground track here and then pull these iron plates down off on a side branch down here. So there we go, we got that making that, and we need to get this guy making the red science packs too. Question is, why are they not coming out? Well, they just take a while to make, I guess. There we go, okay. So there you see I'm making science packs now. Then I started researching steel processing so I can make steel. And I think what I probably want to do is actually get another one of these set up making more red science packs. I'm not making them fast enough to where both of these labs can actually get the science packs. So the other thing I could do is I could set them up on opposite sides, but I guess I need to just have more throughput. So that's kind of something to watch out for too, is your supply, your output keeping up with the demand that your buildings are placing on your chain. So I'm going to make 2 more assembling machines just because. And when those are done, I will add them into this and then get those started pumping out red science packs as well. Alright, so now we're cooking. We have our labs now actually not using the science packs as fast as they can be produced. So this is a good problem to have. So what I want to do is actually make more labs at this point to keep up with the supply. So probably one more lab ought to do the trick. So let's extend this belt a little bit here and make one more, and we'll go from there. So let's see. Cool. Alright, so there's basically from beginning to being able to automatically produce red science packs. And currently the only thing that I have that's still using coal is the furnaces, the boilers, but those are being fed coal automatically by these electric inserters. And then the stone furnaces, so these here are being fed coal automatically from this loop. However, the copper one is not, so these have to be powered manually. So what I'll probably end up doing is using a splitter or something to get some of this coal up onto this belt as well, so that these can be fed by some of this coal. So that's kind of the next order of business. Okay, so this lab is done, so I can slap this bad boy down right about there, and I'm gonna need a bit more belt. Looks like I need more plates to make more belts and gears. Steal some of those. And I'm going to need to make another inserter, and I've got enough power line. Okay, so that should do the trick. And we'll get that power line right about like so. We'll get that inserter right there. And we're good. Alright, so we just researched logistics. Okay, so just to show you some of the stuff that I can get here. So now you see that in the research tree, the stuff that's green are things that have already been researched. So I now have the ability to make coal. I can make actually a better axe, steel axe. Logistics, and this was for the underground belt, which is really nice for being able to have one belt pass under another to get kind of untangled. A splitter, which will split conveyor cargo, and then a fast inserter. This is really nice for certain things that you manufacture require, let's say, 3 pieces of copper wire, for instance, to one other component. So it's nice to have a fast inserter for those components that are more than 2 or 3, so that you can keep up with the other thing that's being jammed into the factory. And then the other one is automation. That was the first one I did. So right now I have some stuff left that only requires red science packs, but you see now I have some others that require green science packs. So the next order of business is, how do I set up automation for the green science packs? Well, let's see what they actually take. So the green science packs require the inserters and the transport belts. So this is where it gets tricky, because the inserter, I believe, yes, this is one of the ones that requires 3 components. So that's going to mean now that we need to research, I believe, automation 2 to get this assembling machine. And it requires electronics. So electronics will be the next thing that I research. So we'll do that. So that will get going. I've got more than enough science output now to keep up with the labs, it looks like. So let's see how our power supply is doing. Looks like we're doing good. I believe, let's see, what the total output of these things is, let's check. These put out 510 kilowatts, okay? And my current load is what? Looks like production, consumption is bouncing back and forth, but capping out around 800 kilowatts, it looks like. So we're still over, basically we have an excess output compared to the draw, but we're getting close to the point where we probably want to add additional boilers. So I'm thinking what I'm probably going to do is set up another offshore pump here so that I can have more boilers down here pulling off the same belt. That would probably be my next order of business. So yeah, so that's basically where I'm at. So I'm probably going to pause while I do some more housekeeping stuff here and set up some more of those things, and when I get to a good point to illustrate a landmark, I will unpause. And I'm back. So that's probably going to be just about it for this episode. I did add those extra steam engines down here, so we'll have something like 2 megawatts total output now. Each one of these is 510 kilowatts, so it should be 2040 kilowatts or 2.04 megawatts, if I can do my math. Alright, so the only other thing I did was I created a little assembly line over here to start producing some walls. So walls require you to put rock in the furnace to make bricks, and then you use bricks to make walls. So I'm going to take these wall segments and I'm going to start fortifying this base. So I did set it on peaceful mode, which means that aliens will only attack once you attack first. In order to spice things up a little bit, I think I may in the next episode go on the offensive and start taking the fight to the aliens. There are some alien artifacts, I believe, that you get from the aliens that you can only get by, well, killing the aliens. Alright, so, the other thing I did was I had an extra electric drill up here to keep up with the demand on the iron ore. Alright, so that's going to be it for this time. Next time round, I'm going to start beefing up the base defenses in anticipation of going on the offensive, and I'll show you how you can create turrets. So it's actually something that we just researched. That was here, turrets. So a gun turret requires those plates, copper plates, and gear wheels, and they take ammunition. And ammunition is manufactured using, I believe, just iron plates. That's correct. So what we can do is we can take some of the excess iron plates that we have, start making ammunition, and then we can get a conveyor belt set up to basically run the perimeter of the base and basically automatically feed ammo to the gun turrets so that we don't have to babysit them. Eventually we'll get laser turrets that will sort of obviate the need for that kind of a setup, but in the meantime we'll make do with what we got. Alright, so that's all I got. If you guys have questions about the game, feel free to throw them in the comments. I'll answer if I'm able. And alright, until next time, thanks for watching.